Hi there, this is Christine Collins with Transform Create. I'm your creativity consultant, NLP practitioner, and hypnotherapist. And I wanted to share with you today a tip for your creation process that is centered around what I like to call inspired action. And I'll explain what I mean, and then I'll give you a couple of suggestions for how to kind of implement this idea of inspired action. So when I'm talking about inspired action, I'm sharing that it is more than simply doing. So when you sit down towards your creative process and you are going to be perhaps writing, perhaps you are doing design work, you may be creating a blog, you may be writing sales copy, you may be working on a bigger ticket item like a program or a new service for your business. You are sitting down to do the work of doing the physical writing, coming up with the ideas, typing it out, handwriting it out, however you are working on it. That's the action part of it. And you'll find that when you come into that portion of the process, without doing what I'm going to talk about today, without doing that in advance, you are going to be sitting there trying to conjure up ideas, trying to conjure up something from your imagination that you haven't sort of pre-paved before you've gotten to that stage of taking the action. Inspired action is where you do pave that pathway for yourself ahead of time through activities like meditation or hypnotherapy or various other tools and techniques that you can use. Sometimes people use drumming or music or silence. You can meditate in silence also. If you're anything like me though, and you struggle with quieting your mind, that's probably one of my biggest challenges, is just getting that internal noise to kind of die down enough to tune into that alpha brainwave state. You can use something like a guided meditation or a hypnotherapy track to help you to kind of like tune out of your own thoughts to be able to allow ideas to flow. And that's when your creativity is really moving and those creative juices are really flowing. It doesn't have to be a lot of time. 10 to 15 minutes is usually enough to kind of tune into that alpha brainwave state. And you can do this through something more formal where you're working with someone who's guiding you through this process, or you can use a pre-recorded track or pre-recorded music. And you'll notice that when you actually sit down to do the work, the ideas are there. In fact, my suggestion is that if you set aside this 10 or 15 minutes of time to do your meditation and your visualization, it's a good idea for you to have a pen and paper available, because when you come out of this meditation, this is the way that it happens for me and for many others that I work with, the ideas are just there and you don't want to lose them. So it's a good idea to have a journal or a notebook or even just a Post-it pad, whatever you have on hand, to just quickly write down what you got while you were in that deeply meditative state. And it can also help if you find yourself struggling to get into that state initially, to ask yourself, what do I want? What is it that I am trying to create here? If it's a program, what do I want that finished outcome to look like? And try to be as specific as you possibly can as you're visualizing that outcome. Think about the sensory details. How am I going to feel when this is accomplished? What is it going to look like visually? Are there any other sensory details I can conjure up? Are there sounds I can think about? Are there aromas involved? Are there any textures? Are there interactions with other people that I can sort of envision how I want it to be? If you're writing something, what is it that you want that finished product to be like? What is the goal? What is the intention? What are you wanting to create with that outcome? And the more clear and specific you can get with that visualization, the easier it's going to be for you when you actually sit down to do that creative work. So I hope you found this to be helpful. Once again, I'm Christine Collins with Transform Create, and I hope that you have an absolutely magical and creative rest of your day.